Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Jeep and Things /reviews. You can tell by the title what we're going to be going over today. And that is our first road trip in the Ranger. And I've got the exact numbers as far as mpg, as far as the amount of miles we drove, how everything went. Do a quick video here, honest review of what the wife and I thought about the little Ranger on its first actual long road trip. So before we get started, thank each and every one of you for tuning in. We're closing that gap on the gold number. I appreciate each and every one of you for checking in and for commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing. I truly appreciate it, and I do hope you guys had a happy new year. The road trip with the truck, and as the title says, first road trip and the only thing. We'll get to that at the end of the video, the only thing and what I'm meaning by that. So we went from Southeast Missouri up to St. Louis, across to Columbia, Kansas City, Kansas, out to Colorado. And one thing and this isn't our first trip out there. One of the things that happens is, even in Kansas, you're constantly gaining elevation. So just to give you a frame of reference, we're at 358 feet elevation. I'm up on a hill here, 358 feet elevation. So we're going to jump inside the Ranger to go over the trip. As I said, the highest elevation we reached was 5,685 feet, if I'm not mistaken, and that's just me glancing at my watch. That could have been higher elevation, but just to give you a frame of reference, we're a little over 300 feet here. And when you're going across Kansas, you're slowly, even though you're not in the mountains, you're slowly gaining elevation across the whole state of Kansas heading west. So naturally aspirated engines are affected more by elevation compared to turbo engines. So we'll cover that. So as far as the outside of the truck, I did take it to wash it because they had some snow and got some salt on the truck. We didn't run into any bad weather, but I did try to spray some of that off. Just got back from the car wash. So as far as the outside of the truck, the tonneau cover did excellent. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome, thank you. I've done about 2 or 3 other videos over the Ranger since I got it. But the tonneau cover, and here's what I'm getting at, it's according to how OCD you are. You'll see that side's hanging over by a little. This side's pretty well flush. It hasn't moved. I just looked at the mileage, and we'll jump in the truck here real quick. I'm not going to turn the truck on because the CarPlay will kick in. I did not grab the GoPro, so when the CarPlay kicks in, and it does kick in fast, it'll mute the volume on the phone here. But yeah, the tonneau cover has stayed in place. You can see we have 5,009.9 miles. So let's get into this. How did the truck do? How did we like it? What was the MPGs? And then we're going to close here in a couple of minutes with the only thing. So as far as, and I've got my little cheat sheet here so I don't miss anything. The truck had 2,807 miles on it when we began. And when we got back, it had 4,973 miles. Which means we drove a total of 2,166 miles. So as far as starting out at 2,807, the truck is broke in. We'll just kind of pan around. The truck is broke in well enough for a road trip. I consider them broke in at 1,000 as far as engine break-in. As far as MPGs, my experience with new vehicles, whether it's the Fords, the Jeeps, the Toyota I had, sometimes it takes 10,000 miles to get your best MPG, or close to 10,000. So the numbers I'm going to give you, that mileage will go up. Side note, I did not do the hard numbers as far as what the computer says compared to doing the math work. I have done that, just not on this trip. And for example, if the truck says I'm getting 20.2, and when I ran the hard numbers, my hard numbers said it was getting right at 20. So it's very close. So starting out, and what I did is you got trip 1, trip 2. I went to trip 2 and reset it. And I wanted to see how the gap closed, because trip 1, I haven't reset since I purchased the truck. That's the constant mileage MPG it's getting. The highest I got after I set trip 2 was 25.7. That's on flat land before we hit the hills. Once you get 30 miles away from the house, it's all hills and you're gaining elevation. So in the end, once we got to Colorado, I was averaging 23.2. And in Missouri, the interstate speed, and we took all interstate. We did go through St. Louis, Columbia, Kansas City, went through some cities in Kansas. We went through Denver. So you do have city driving in there. Once we got to Colorado, it was 23.2 mpg. Once we finished the trip, got home, 22.1. Now, I'm sorry. Trip 1, the original trip, was 22.1 in the end. And my trip 2 was 22.9. I hope that's not confusing. They closed the gap together. So ending trip, the truck averaged 22.9 miles per gallon. Missouri, with the speed limit, was 70. We set the cruise at 73. Once you get into Kansas and Colorado, it's 75. We set the trip at 77, 78, just to give you a frame of reference of how fast we were driving. So the other thing, and in my other video, I had said this had the 10R80. I had a couple people correct me, and thank you so much. They switched in 2023, I believe it was, to the, and this is a 24 Ranger, they switched to the 10R60. What I mean by that is, if you've had a Ford Ranger prior to 2023, the transmissions could be jerky. They could have hard shifts. Nothing with this truck. Smooth transmission. At 5,000 miles, going through the mountains in Colorado, going on flat land, and city driving, smooth. Thank goodness. So that was a plus. The other thing, as far as driving, and I'll just say this, my wife, which is not a vehicle person at all, every single vehicle my wife has had, which isn't a lot. If you watch the channel, you know I have had several different vehicles. The wife is not a vehicle person at all. Every single vehicle she's had, she has driven until they won't drive anymore. Literally. Once it costs too much to fix it, then she will get another one. So she, as far as vehicles, she's not a vehicle person. The reason I bring that up is I've had 2 prior Rangers. She liked them. We take turns driving. She noted that the seat comfort was excellent. And I've said in my videos, and it's a fact, Ford made the Ranger wider so they could accommodate the 2.7 liter engine. And if you get the Raptor, the 3.0, this has the 2.3. They made the interior wider by 2.5 inches, and they extended the wheelbase by 2 to 2.5 inches. She could tell a difference. She said, man, this thing has room. It has more room than your other Rangers had. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a difference. So she loved the way it drove. And one thing that I didn't notice is your cruise control. Now, she currently, you can see her Jeep up there. She has a Jeep Grand Cherokee Overland L. And I never really noticed this. I guess I did in my Jeep I had, and my Toyota I had, my older Rangers. But to set the cruise when you're going down the road, you simply push that button. The cruise is set. If you want to speed up, if you want to slow down, if you have to hit your brakes, and you want to go back, you just simply push that button in. It takes you back to the speed you were at. She really loved that. She said, you know, in most vehicles, or in her, you have to turn the cruise on, set it, one touch operation on your cruise control. Just the little things. Touch it, your cruise is set. Now the lane keep assist will kick on if you don't like that, which we do like it, especially when we're traveling. There's a couple times I had my hand like this. It would tell me put my hand on the steering wheel, even though my hand was on the steering wheel. But she really liked that. So it had more room, comfort, little things that they implemented on the 24 Ranger that was not on the other Rangers. This little shelf here, that shelf traveling came in so handy, because if we needed to charge our phones, we would plug them in here, run the cord through there, lay them on the shelf. Of course, you could leave your phone there. And on the trip a lot, my wife put her phone in here. We did put in this so when if she wanted to watch a movie, we had that. I put my other mount in here for that. I kept my phone up here. Bluetooth to the maps, worked flawless, did excellent. So the seat comfort was great. The maps worked excellent as far as the Bluetooth goes. Just little things like that, the little ledge, just for extra space when you're traveling. Of course, you got the sunglass holder. Oops, she left her sunglasses in there. So worked out excellent. The MPGs will only go up. It's rated at 20 city, 24 highway. In the flatlands, like I said, I did excellent. But once I hit the hills and got to the higher speeds, overall 22, what did I say? 22.9 in the end. So, well, like I said, this is just a quick video how the Ranger did. And if you did notice a little shiny, these are just something I got. I didn't know they was going to be that shiny, but at night, might not be able to see it during the day, but they light up. There you go. And you can change colors. Didn't know they was going to be that shiny though, but that's neither here nor there. So final thoughts, and we'll get to the only thing, is the truck did excellent. The comfort, it takes 14 and a half hours driving straight through. Of course, you're going to stop for gas, bathroom breaks, eating. But we would drive about 7.5 hours a day. The seat comfort was excellent. Now, by the time you're at the end of the 7.5 hours, you're ready to get out. But seats did great. As far as, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. And I will say this, and then we'll get to the only thing and close this out. Vinyl floor mats, rubber, vinyl, whatever you want to call them. And if you've watched my previous videos, and you can see my notes there, in my previous videos, it was between two Rangers that were both STXs. One had carpet, this one did not. That's one of the reasons why I picked this one. I'm here to tell you, if I ever win the lottery, if I ever have a rich uncle that I don't know even exists, and he leaves me millions of dollars, and I could have any vehicle I wanted, it's going to have vinyl floor mats. Oh my Lord. Took the trip. Like I said, I washed the truck today, pulled out the all-weather floor mats, and just vacuumed out the vinyl or wipe them out. They're so easy to take care of. Vinyl floor mats for me. If I ever got the highest end vehicle, it would have I would special order it with vinyl floor mats. Just my opinion. So let's get to the only thing. And what I mean by the only thing is if you've ever purchased a vehicle, or you know someone that purchased a vehicle, whether it's a base model such as this, whether it's the highest end model vehicle that you could get in whatever particular brand that you are buying, if you'll notice yourself or other people will say, oh, I really love the vehicle. The only thing is I wish it had this, or I wish it didn't do that. So I'll close out by saying this. With this truck, and we'll get outside the truck here for a second to finish this out. The only thing is, The XLT compared to this, the features it had was a sliding rear window, power, and I really like sliding power windows, or just a sliding rear window. And in the vehicles I had it in, I never used them. I just like it. This one doesn't have that. But that's not the only thing. In the XLTs, they had adaptive cruise control, which is very nice, but that's not the only thing. The XLT, the stereo, the screen was bigger. That's fine. The stereo system, and I will say this, out of all the vehicles I've had, and if you watch my videos, you'll know if there's something that I don't particularly like, I'll let you know. It's not that this is brand new and everything's going to be perfect, because we know that isn't the case. But in the blue Jeep, the 2024 Sport S blue Jeep, and I was one of the first people in the area. I saw it on the parking lots, the first one I saw back. It was actually in 2023, August of 23, and it's on the channel if you want to go look at it. That's the one that got totaled by a semi. Love that Jeep. That's when they came out with the big screens, whatnot. The stereo stunk. The sound stunk. This, the base model, for a base model, I'll throw that in there, for a base model, the stereo sound is absolutely amazing. If you got an STX or an XL Ford Ranger, you know what I'm talking about. Because when you get a base model vehicle, the stereos, you know, they're the base model. And the speakers, and I want to zoom in, you got two speakers on each side, tweeters probably. You got a big speaker here in the door. In the back, you've got a speaker. So the speaker, or the stereo system, sounds great. Absolutely love it. So, once again, the XLT had power seats, sliding rear window, adaptive cruise control. This does have lane keep assist. It had blind spot monitoring. And after taking a long road trip, I'm here to tell you, the little concave mirror there, you can see up here in the corner, works excellent. Does not have blind spot monitoring, but that works excellent. The power seats, and we've been over this before, this does not, excuse me, have power seats, but you got lumbar adjust. You can raise the height or lower it and recline. Same way on the other side. It doesn't have lumbar support, I don't think. Let's go look. But it does raise and lower the seat. I just don't think it has lumbar support. It does not. But you can raise, lower, and then there's your recline. So I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed on the XLT that it had that this doesn't. It obviously has more features. Here's the only thing from me, and my only thing may be different from your only thing. The only thing, and we took a blanket, does not have dual heat and air. Does not have dual climate control. So if you've got one person that is hot and the other person's cold, you have to compromise. And it really wasn't that big of a factor with the wife and I. We carried a blanket if she's over in the passenger seat and there was times that I was hot, she was a little cold, she'd put the blanket on. That is the only thing for me. Kind of wish it had dual heat and air. Most of the time I'm by myself, so it really doesn't matter. And the vents, to close out the vents, one thing they do, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, they do close. Probably can't see that. So if you want to close it off, they will close off 100%, but does not have dual heat and air. The XLTs also had heated seats. Really can't tell. I use my app because the key fob does not have remote start on the key fob. But the app, the Ford Pass app, you can start. I would, when it's cold, use the app, start it up, let it get warm. Seats are fine, they're warm. So anyhow, we're gonna close it out. That was the first road trip we took. Long range, no complaints. The only thing was the dual heat and air, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. So still loving the truck. We'll keep you updated. I'm taking it in for the first oil change. We're supposed to get bad weather coming in the next couple of days, so I scheduled an oil change. And I'll close up by saying this. The Fords I've had, the Jeeps, the Toyotas, when you get a new vehicle, I always ask the dealer, because you know back in the day they would put break-in engine oil in it. They don't do that anymore. So I'll ask them, when should I get the oil change? Just go by the computer. The computer's going to tell you 10,000 miles. If I looked at my Ford Pass app now, it would say my oil life, being that I'm at 5,000 miles, is at 50%. I always get them changed at 5,000 miles. And I don't know why they do this. If one of you all know specifically why, let me know. But when you get a new vehicle, they'll tell you, go by your computer. The computer's going to tell you 10,000 miles. Don't do that. Take it in at 5,000. I take it in at 5,000 or 6,000. Once they change that oil for the first time, they're going to put the little sticker in the window that says next service is between 5,000 and 6,000 miles. So we're getting oil changed in here in a couple days, weather permitting. Thank you all for watching. I sure appreciate it. If you got any questions, comments, please let me know. But the truck did excellent. Super pleased. Hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. God bless you, and y'all have a good day.